Captain America Civil War lived up to all of the hype, offering yet another spectacular entry into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. While the film felt more like a third Avengers film than the third Captain America flick, we're still shocked at all the crazy plot twists and superpowered fights. Amidst the carnage, there are plenty of references and Easter eggs that you may not have noticed while you were gawking at your favorite superheroes going all WWE on each other. As you'd expect, there's a Wakanda-sized amount of spoilers ahead, so you might want to put this list on ice if you haven't seen the movie yet. For the birds. In the comics, Sam Wilson usually has a pet falcon named Redwing that he brings with him to the battlefield. He has a telepathic link with the bird that syncs their brains together, allowing Wilson to see whatever the falcon sees. To make things simpler, Captain America Civil War made Redwing a remote-controlled drone that would fly out of his backpack. Wilson could use his goggles to see from the perspective of the machine to get a tactical readout on his surroundings. Gotta admit, that's a lot cooler than an escapee from a bird sanctuary. Rearranging Crossbones. Holding a grudge against Steve Rogers for the events of Captain America Winter Soldier, Crossbones attempts to steal a biological weapon in Lagos, Nigeria. Eventually, the villain gets in close and blows himself up alongside Cap in a heavily populated marketplace. Scarlet Witch's containment of the blast negates a lot of the casualties that would have happened otherwise, but some innocents get killed nonetheless, triggering the government to step in with the Sokovia Accords. While he may have inadvertently helped start the Civil War in the movie, he does the opposite in the comics. After Steve Rogers turns himself into the authorities, mean old Crossbones snipes him from afar, leading to Cap's death, but don't worry, he got better. Dealing with Karpov by the book. Remember that guy who had the red book with the passwords that activated the Winter Soldier's programming? That character is Vasily Karpov, who played a slightly more important role in the comics. Karpov helped Cap foil one of Red Skull's plans, but he also played a pivotal role in turning an injured Bucky Barnes into the Winter Soldier. Community contributions. Directors Anthony and Joseph Russo are known for directing episodes of Arrested Development and Community prior to their adventures in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. In Civil War, Jim Rash, known for playing Dean Craig Pelton on Community, makes a cameo in Cap Dean America Civil War. He played the MIT liaison who was speaking to Tony Stark after his on-stage announcement. If you check out the Russo's previous Marvel movie, The Winter Soldier, you may have recognized Abed himself, Danny Pudi, as an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. Cool as that is, we're still hoping he shows up on the big screen as a different comic character someday.
Batman. Yeah.
Excellent vision. In the comics, the Vision started wearing clothes so he wouldn't freak out his other teammates as much, and to try to blend in more. We saw Paul Bettany decked out in sweaters throughout Civil War, while he was still wearing the Mind Stone on his forehead, which makes for one awesome fashion accessory. Furthermore, we saw the comic-based relationship between Vision and Wanda continue to flourish from its start in Age of Ultron, as the two characters seemingly cared for one another despite how weird and chaotic their lives have been so far. Moving words. We're sure a lot of you got a little teary-eyed seeing Steve Rogers mourn as he carried Agent Peggy Carter's coffin at her funeral. Captain America's former neighbor / potential love interest, Sharon Carter, gives a heartfelt eulogy for her aunt that might sound familiar. In the comics, Captain America explains his decisions with the iconic "No You Move" speech. In the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Cap hears it from Sharon at a time when he needed to hear it most, cementing his resolve and stance on the Sokovia Accords. May I buy you a drink? Sure, it was a little awkward watching Tony Stark hanging out and kinda flirting with Aunt May before meeting Peter Parker, but this isn't the first time Aunt May got cozy with Tony Stark. The 1994 romantic comedy Only You featured Downey and Tomei falling in love and all that good stuff by the end of the film. Is it possible that Iron Man might become Spider-Man's uncle in a few movies? Iron Spider. Spider-Man originally played an even larger part in the comic book version of Civil War. Siding with Tony Stark and supporting the Superhero Registration Act, Spider-Man reveals to the world that he is actually Peter Parker, resulting in all kinds of problems in the long run for the wall crawler. Fortunately, Tony Stark backs him throughout most of the events, even making a new armored Iron Spider suit that featured extra arms and all kinds of cool gadgets. During the movie, Stark finds Peter's original makeshift superhero outfit a little underwhelming, since he's only been your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man for a few months by this time. He ultimately gives him his first real costume, complete with some new toys. Ant and Hawk. During the film's fight between the two opposing halves of the Avengers, a miniaturized Ant-Man gets boosted toward Iron Man by holding onto one of Hawkeye's arrows. This scene is actually inspired by the Avengers issue number 223, which depicts the awesome maneuver on its cover. But the fight only gets better when Ant-Man takes a huge gamble and becomes Giant Man. In order to create a big distracting diversion, instead of shrinking to roughly half an inch in height, Ant-Man tries a new trick and turns ginormous. What non-comic fans may not have realized is that Ant-Man has a long history of skipping the small stuff and going big. He first shrunk down to fun-sized proportions as Ant-Man in 1962's Tales to Astonish number 35. By Tales to Astonish number 49 in 1963, he made his debut as Giant Man and fought a lame villain named the Living Eraser. Let's hope Marvel never decides to bring that dude into the movies. Trading places. Seeing War Machine get accidentally shot down by Vision and lose the use of his legs was pretty sad. These events sort of mirror what happened between Tony Stark and James Rhodes in the comics. After being shot and paralyzed, Tony Stark uses technology to help himself walk and move around. Tony's overall health started to worsen, resulting in him creating the Variable Threat Assessment Armor, which would become the War Machine armor. After everyone thought he died, Tony Stark's will named Rhodes the head of his company and gave him the new suit. Now War Machine has become the one struggling to walk after being shot, which shows a sad but unique twist on things. The Raft. Meant to hold supervillains who are too dangerous for normal jail cells, the Raft's island-like designs were inspired by Alcatraz. In the movie, the government takes things a step further by making the Raft entirely submersible. The climactic fight. The movie's title fight breaks down to a slugfest featuring Captain America and Bucky versus Iron Man. After Bucky gets disarmed, you know, like when he loses his arm, Captain America and Iron Man go all out in a one-on-one brawl. The fight features a highlighted segment where Tony Stark fires his repulsor blast into Captain America's shield, recreating the iconic comic book cover on the big screen. Back to basics. After scanning and predicting Captain America's fighting techniques in record time, Iron Man proceeds to beat him bloody with relative ease. After getting trampled, Steve Rogers struggles to get up, and we have a familiar exchange.
I could do this all day.
If that sounds familiar, there's a good reason. Steve said the same thing in a pre-Super Soldier Serum scene in Captain America, the First Avenger.
I could do this all day.
The Spider Signal. The second post-credit scene ends up with Peter Parker nursing his wounds back home in Queens while toying around with the new web shooters Tony Stark gave him. He accidentally shines a bright red light from the device, which turns out to be the Spider Signal. Old school comic fans should definitely be happy to see this calling card of the Amazing Wallcrawler. Basically, Spider-Man would shine this giant projection of his face onto unsuspecting villains, announcing his entrance before he swings in to save the day. Doing that might make for a more dramatic entrance than this.
Hey everyone.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to see more videos like the one you just saw, and leave us a comment to let us know which Civil War Easter eggs we missed.